Yes.
What model camera film, the one that you started out with, what model was it?
Can you shoot it with film?
No, what model camera, your film camera?
I still use a Canon EOS 1V. I use a Canon EOS Rebel as my little street camera. The 1V is big, heavy. It's a horse, you know. But you know, what kind of camera do you use? Do you shoot black and white? Yes. What kind of camera do you use?
I have two cameras. I have a Canon AE1.
Oh, beautiful camera.
And I have an Olympus, my digital camera. I still shoot with film, and I get it developed.
And how do you like? Where do you develop the film?
CVS, Walgreens.
Oh, oh no! Please don't say. No. And but that, I mean, that's the way to go. But I'll tell you,
I have an art teacher at school that allows me to develop as well.
Oh,
I have
good,
a darkroom there.
good. Because I've done that, and your film is green, it's blue, it's like, oh my goodness, what are you doing? But I'm telling you, if you're developing one roll of film, it doesn't take a lot. You know, the chemistry that you need some developer, you need fixer, you need hypo, you need photo flow 200, and that's all you need. You know, I mean, if you can develop your film, scan it, and print it, but don't take it to CVS. You know, really, don't. Stop. Yes. Don't even take your color film to CVS. I mean, real. I mean, you know, I'm just saying. I've done it, and you know, things that I shot that were red came out blue. You know, I don't mean to offend anybody who works for CVS, but you know, I'm just saying. And you know, one of the funny things is that the places where you could go to get 1 hour film, most of them are gone. You know, the only ones left are CVS and Rite Aid and ShopRite. You know, it's just, digital has done something interesting to photography. You know, especially the way we know it. When I was a kid, the first thing that really interested me in photography was my father was always taking pictures. You know, we were like, oh God, here comes Daddy with the camera again. You know, but I was always fascinated when the film came back from the drugstore, and I had to see these photographs. You know, and it took maybe 2 or 3 days to get it. You know, and that was, you know, who knows, 40, 50 years ago. Yeah, someone in the back.
Whoa. Of all the countries you've been to, which one do you find to be the most influential on your styles?
Cuba. Cuba's the most influential. I started going to Cuba in 1987. My teacher, Ben Jones, I said, I was working in the corporate world. I was getting very frustrated. He said, you're out of balance. He said, you need something completely different. So he was going to Cuba. I went there for a art festival in Havana, a theater festival in Santiago de Cuba, basically Los Angeles and California. So when I went there, it was like going to the Twilight Zone. You know, it was one of the most strange experiences I've ever had in my life. You know, cars from the 50s. It was very odd, but beautiful island, beautiful people, artists making art. Do you think you have it rough here? You can go to whatever art store that you go to go in and buy art supplies, but not the same situation, but artists making art at a high level there. In Newark, at the Newark Museum, they have an exhibit of the work of Cuban artists, some of whom I know. But that's the country that really sort of shifted me. And then I won't tell you my political views, but I believe everybody in the world should be allowed to use their art to express themselves. So your art should be able to go everywhere in the world. Any other questions? Yes, there's a hand in the back. Yes.
What motivates you to do your art?
Breathing is what motivates me. Breathing. If I don't make art, I'm dead. Okay. You know, I go to sleep, and some people have dreams. I see a video in my head. You know, some people step out of the bed. I dance out of the bed. All right? some people speak, I'm singing, and you're talking and it's poetry. I can't wear earphones in the street, okay? I can't wear them because there's music that I hear when the car is going across the pavement, and I may get something out of that. Every time I see something, every time I blink my eyes, I'm taking a picture, okay? For me, it's a blessing and it's a curse. It doesn't stop for me. It never stops, it never stops. That's why I make art, because I want to breathe, I want to live. If I'm not making art, there's no point in me being on the planet, So what motivates me? What motivates me is my daughter, who's my greatest work of art, and my greatest critic, and somebody who I can always show work to, and she says that's good, or she says that's enough. She's one of the reasons why I make art. I make art because I love to teach children, because I get ideas from children. I work in a program with Arts Horizon called Special Education Artists Academy. A couple years ago, someone at the Newark Museum, someone somewhere asked me to teach a group of special needs children, and they did it as a challenge because they didn't believe I could take these $700 cameras and give them to kids and they were going to do something interesting. And I found out I have a system for teaching photography. Starts with drawing, then portraits, then collages, okay? And I found out with special needs children, this works. So this spring, I worked with a group of autistic children, 3 groups of autistic children at 188X in the Bronx, and found out, hey, the system works. And when I teach children, I get ideas. So that's why I do it. The children have the original ideas. I revere elders. Okay, I revere elders because they have a lot of information, and a lot of them will give it to you. They'll tell you about their lives. They'll tell you how they did what they did and why. So that's my motivation. And motivation, like I said, I'm not making art just to make money. I'm making art to heal people, okay? I'm making art to make people feel better. I'm making art so that you went to work today and it was a horrible day, but when you opened your door, you had one of my collages at the top of your stairs, and that made you smile. It made you feel a little bit better. That's what motivates me. I guess that's what motivates me. Yes. Oh, there's a question. 2 more questions. Yes, sir. To the parents, support your children, even if you don't know what they're doing, even if you can't figure it out. Give them the support that they need. Say that again. No, don't never step out of the way, because, you need to know what they're doing. You may not understand it, but you need to know what they're doing. And I have an 11-year-old, and already it's difficult to communicate with her. She was my buddy. Oh, I go to art openings, and if my daughter's not there, people say, where's your daughter? Okay, now she's getting her own social scene, so she doesn't come with me. But you need to know what she's doing and to be sure about what she's doing. You may not understand it, but you need to encourage them, because you don't know where it's going to take them. You don't know. One fast story. My parents from South Carolina lived in New Jersey, went back to South Carolina. I went to visit them every year. They passed years ago, and my father would say to my relatives who I was taking pictures of, he'd say, he's an artist and a photographer. I would say, what is that about? Well, for all of my life, my father knew I was an artist, but at some point he knew I became a photographer, So you don't know what your children are going to become, but you need to encourage them, challenge them and find out. They're not going to tell you, I mean, you have teenagers. I have an 11-year-old. They're not going to tell you, but still, encourage them, find out what they're doing, and even if you don't understand it, support them. One more question. Well, if that's it, I'd just like to say again, congratulations. When you go home, thank your teachers, okay? While you're here, thank your parents for supporting you. Because believe me, there are students out there whose parents do not support them. You have an advantage. If your parents are here and your parents support you, you have an advantage, okay? So Again, it's been a privilege to be here. I'd like to thank Congressman Lance for inviting me. Thank you, Mark. Tim Lang, thanks for your work. And also would like to thank one of my many bosses, Mary Sue Sweeney Price, who's the director of a great museum, the Newark Museum, who recommended me to come down. And I'm glad I had the chance to come down and speak with you today. Keep making great art. Take leaps of faith. And young people, speak and speak up and speak clearly. Thank you so much.